The cause of death was listed as a drug overdose, but the medical examiner disagreed after discovering that toxicology results were negative for any lethal dose of drugs or substances. The case closed 3 times. Each closure was based on incomplete forensic analysis, revealing a need to reevaluate the circumstances surrounding the deceased's final hours. Initial findings pointed towards an opioid-related fatality due to the presence of needle marks and commonly associated paraphernalia at the scene. However, subsequent toxicological screenings failed to detect any significant levels of opioids or other drugs capable of causing fatal overdose. This discrepancy prompted a thorough re-examination of environmental factors, including potential exposure to substances not immediately apparent in routine testing, such as novel psychoactive substances or contaminants. The investigation shifted focus towards alternative causes involving environmental toxins and undetected prescription medications. Chapter: Case background. The scene under investigation is located in a residential apartment complex situated in downtown Providence, Rhode Island, where the body of the deceased was discovered on February 14th at approximately 3:15 p.m. The initial report was made by a concerned neighbor who had not seen the individual for several days and observed unusual activity near the deceased's residence. Upon entering the dwelling, this person found the deceased lying supine on the bedroom floor, unresponsive and surrounded by empty prescription medication bottles. Emergency services were immediately contacted, and upon their arrival, preliminary observations indicated potential drug overdose based on the presence of various pharmaceutical containers and the state of the body. Medical personnel initiated emergency resuscitation efforts, but declared the individual dead at the scene due to non-responsive physiological indicators. The local medical examiner's office was promptly notified, leading to an official forensic investigation to determine cause and manner of death. Given these initial findings, toxicological analysis was prioritized to identify any substances that may have contributed to the fatal outcome. Chapter: Initial findings. Upon arrival at the residence, first responders noted a single occupant, the deceased, situated in a prone position on the floor. No visible external injuries were present upon cursory examination. The scene was otherwise unremarkable, with no signs of forced entry or struggle indicative of foul play. Initial vital signs indicated an absence of respiratory and cardiac activity. Emergency resuscitation efforts were initiated, but deemed futile. The deceased exhibited no response to intervention. The medical examiner's office was promptly notified due to the unexpected nature of death in a seemingly healthy individual, coupled with the lack of apparent trauma or environmental hazards that might account for sudden demise. Initial manner of death was classified as undetermined pending further toxicological analysis and autopsy findings. The absence of common lethal substances upon preliminary screening at the scene warranted deeper investigation into potential causes not immediately evident through visual inspection alone. Chapter: Forensic investigation. At the scene, investigators collected a smartphone, pill bottles labeled with various medications, and an empty syringe. The deceased's personal effects were bagged separately and tagged for identification purposes. Blood samples and urine specimens were drawn from the body under sterile conditions and placed in sealed containers marked with collection timestamps and initials of personnel involved. No illicit substances or paraphernalia were found, contrasting initial suspicions of a drug overdose. A vial containing an unknown white powder was recovered near the deceased, but tested negative for common toxicants upon preliminary analysis at the lab. The chain of custody documentation meticulously records each item's transfer from scene to laboratory and subsequent handling by forensic analysts. This collection process ensures integrity and traceability throughout the investigation. For the toxicological analysis of the deceased, a comprehensive battery of tests was conducted to screen for common drugs and substances that could have contributed to fatal outcomes. These included immunoassay screens for opioids, benzodiazepines, cocaine metabolites, amphetamines, cannabinoids, and ethanol, with confirmatory gas chromatography mass spectrometry (GCMS) analysis as necessary. Toxicological panels were run on blood, urine, liver tissue, and vitreous humor samples to detect and quantify substances in various matrices. Detection thresholds ranged from 0.1 ng/ml for opioids to 5 mg/dl for ethanol. Histological examination of the liver revealed no signs of acute drug-induced injury or necrosis. Microscopic analysis did not identify any toxicant-related cellular changes. The results indicated negative concentrations below established cutoffs, leading to a conclusion that no lethal levels of common drugs were present in the deceased at the time of death. Forensic examination yielded no detectable toxicants in the deceased system at time of death, as confirmed through comprehensive toxicological analysis. The postmortem interval was estimated to be approximately 12 hours based on rigor mortis progression and livor mortis distribution. This estimate holds a confidence level of 95%, supported by environmental factors such as ambient temperature and body positioning upon discovery. The sequence of events leading up to death remains speculative due to the absence of toxicological findings. However, evidence at the scene, including empty medication containers with recent usage dates, suggests an attempt had been made to self-medicate prior to the fatal event. This timeline is consistent with observed signs of agitation and disorientation, noted by witnesses in the hours preceding the discovery. Notably, this sequence contradicts initial hypotheses that implicated external drug sources or third-party involvement. The negative toxicology results confirm no illicit substances contributed to the deceased's demise, thus ruling out overdose scenarios involving commonly abused drugs such as opioids, benzodiazepines, or stimulants. The absence of toxicants in the deceased system is a significant finding within this case, as it eliminates drug overdose as a contributing factor to their demise. The forensic analysis did not detect any commonly abused substances or prescription medications at therapeutic levels that could have caused an accidental or intentional intoxication event. This conclusion is based on comprehensive toxicological screening, including immunoassay and confirmatory gas chromatography/mass spectrometry analyses. While the lack of toxicants is a clear, definitive result, it necessitates further investigation into alternative causes of death such as natural disease processes, trauma, or environmental factors. An expert witness would opine under oath that these findings provide strong evidence against drug-related causality and support the need for additional investigative efforts to determine the true cause of death. Chapter Resolution: The comprehensive toxicological analysis of the deceased yielded a definitive negative result for common illicit drugs, pharmaceuticals, and environmental toxins. This conclusion was reached through multiple rounds of gas chromatography mass spectrometry, GCMS, and liquid chromatography tandem mass spectrometry, LCMS/MS, ensuring thorough coverage of metabolites and parent compounds. Initial presumptions based on the scene's conditions suggested a drug-related incident due to typical indicators such as syringes and pill bottles. Yet these objects did not correlate with toxicological findings. The absence of toxicants in post-mortem samples confirmed that drugs were not causative factors. Instead, alternative etiologies such as natural disease processes or unexpected environmental exposures were explored. Reviewing medical records revealed a history of cardiac issues consistent with sudden cardiac arrest, aligning closely with the cause of death determined at autopsy. The shift from drug overdose to cardiovascular events underscores the importance of comprehensive toxicological screening in forensic investigations and highlights the complexity involved in accurate post-mortem diagnosis. This case underscores the critical importance of comprehensive toxicological screening and the continuous refinement of analytical techniques in forensic pathology. Negative findings require meticulous review to ensure no alternative explanations or overlooked substances contribute to the cause of death. The file remains open.